Hello, hello, my gorgeous ones. How are you on this Friday Conscious Check-in? Welcome, Conscious Queens, to the Conscious Check-in that is all about emotions. Oh, my word. Let me know if you are here joining in live. Why don't we go ahead and say hi and put a little emoji. Let's use them because it's Emotions Day, and let me know how you're feeling right now in this moment. And let me assure you, however you are feeling right now in this moment is absolutely perfect. And the more we get used to just sharing exactly what it is we're feeling in the moment, the more we learn how to make friends with our emotions. As usual, I will just kind of hang here with you for a couple of minutes as people are signing in. So as you sign in, just go ahead, say hi, let us know that you are here. Let us know how you are feeling. And if you're really wanting to tap into the Conscious Check-in this week, let us know something that you are feeling particularly grateful for today. I'm feeling very grateful for my mum today. Sorry, Mum, I haven't called you yet today. I will, probably a little bit late for you. But yeah, let's give a shout out to our parents or those people who raised us with equanimity and joy and pride in ourselves, whoever that was for you. Some of us, it's a teacher or an aunt or a grandparent, or sometimes it's the people who came into our lives after we were already raised and grown, but give us that opportunity to create the family that we always wanted to have. So I'm grateful for my mum today, and maybe she will see this later. Hello, gorgeous. That's a brilliant angry face. Thank you so much for admitting that you're feeling today. That's absolutely perfect. So in this live today, I wanted to talk to you about emotions, and particularly this comes up for me because I've been part of a meditation community for around 10 years now. And what I've discovered as a little bit of a sinister side effect to having a meditation practice, and particularly within a meditation community, is that there can be this really big myth, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and call it a lie, that if you meditate or you're on a spiritual path or you're somehow open to becoming enlightened in this lifetime, part of that means absolutely cutting off your emotions, ridding yourself of emotions. You know, just before I came on here, I just thought, you know, just for fun, I would Google quotes on emotions and spirituality just to see if I could find anything really inspiring and beautiful to share with you. And I did not. What I found instead was a lot of quotes talking about mastering your emotions, controlling your emotions. And again, I feel like this kind of language around mastery and control leads us to a false conclusion that emotions are somehow not part of your spiritual journey and shouldn't be allowed to be part of your makeup or allowed to be part of your experience as a spiritual person. Hello, my lovelies who are signing in now. It creates this idea that as a spiritual person, you should be trying to be a spiritual robot who maybe can acknowledge emotions like, oh, I feel an emotion passing through me right now, but certainly would never allow yourself to react to them or be moved by them or sit with them in any particular way. There, of course, is great advantages in being able to not be constantly led around the room by your emotions. That's something different. But it seems the extreme of that is this idea, this myth that emotions are not cool. Emotions are not allowed to be part of the journey. Emotions are the enemy of a spiritual practice. And I feel particularly as women, this leads us to cut off from a definite part of our own experience. And as thoughts tend to be in the realm of the mind, and emotions tend to be in the realm of the body, and being gifted these incredible bodies that have cycles you know, a slightly different lived experience to being in a male body without, with completely different hormones and completely different pull by the moon and things like that. I'm not saying that men aren't gorgeously emotional creatures. They really, really are. But with women, I feel like we've been gifted an experience of much more ebb and flow with our emotions, much more heightened, much more widened emotions. And then there's an idea on a spiritual path that somehow we're supposed to shut that shit down and become these like gentle, inwardly smiling Buddhas who never experience anything. Is this just my idea of what it's like to be on a spiritual path? If you've experienced that, if you've ever felt like somehow your emotions are wrong or should be shut down, or you should somehow learn how to master or control or just squeeze these emotions into a more manageable shape, just give me a little thumbs up. Let me know what your experience with this, with being on a spiritual journey, going for enlightenment, being consciously sure that you came here to wake up in this lifetime, but then also receiving the message that emotions are not a part of that. Let me know. While you are typing in, let me tell you, I want to talk to you about emotions in 3 different ways today. We're going to talk about the experience of emotions as a human being, what we have done to the emotional experience with our minds, and also I'm going to give you a really helpful scientific fact that has got me through many, many scrapes with my emotions, which is not about controlling and mastering, is actually 100% about accepting them. Yes. Oh, thank you, guys. Yeah. Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Right. We've all picked up this message, which is why I knew it would be something really important to talk about today. So let's get stuck in. The first thing I want you to do is just cast your mind back to any time you've ever hung out with a 2-year-old. And what you get to witness when you hang out with a 2-year-old, and if you don't have any 2-year-olds in your life, I get to witness this almost every day. Well, when I'm in London, I'm sadly without my cats while I'm here in Mexico. I have Patanjali, he's amazing, but he's not my cat, you know what I mean? I get to see it every day with Abby Cat and Lilu. And when I'm back in London and make videos, you'll get to meet them. They have the most incredible emotional life ever. They live so many different emotions in their day. I mean, I'm talking about my cats. You can just insert an image of any 2-year-old that you know. There's from dawn to dusk, they could experience 100 different emotions. And at not one moment, the child or the cat, are they ever out of the present moment or in judgment or in story about their emotions. They are simply living them. How this comes across often with my cats is that they adore each other and spend most of their day wrapped in a little yin yang shape on the sofa, licking each other's ears and having a grand old time. But at some point, one of them will just decide that they've been licked enough for the day and then smack the other one, like that cool cat, like bah, 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 bah. Like came from nowhere. There's no warning. And obviously that one cat is feeling frustration, anger, like, you know, of having their space just too much encroached on. And it's just this explosive energy that comes out of an emotion like, get off. And the other cat then is obviously, they shrink into themselves and they're experiencing fear and trepidation and a bit of rejection, you know, and then it's gone. And they go back to either licking each other because they've decided now in this moment they're quite into the licks, or they just settle down and go back to sleep again with their paws wrapped around each other, having simultaneous dreams, which is always the cutest thing in the world. Abby Cat has this brilliant habit of every time he does a big poo, he will run up and down the stairs screaming to let everyone in the house know that he's done a big poo. I can only assume he just feels absolutely amazing and light. I mean, who doesn't like a big poo? And he'll run up and down the stairs until we all acknowledge that he must have just had a great poo. And then he'll just settle down and go back to sleep. There seems to be some kind of emotion that he experiences right after he's had this physical release. So, you know, but never have I seen Abby Cat halfway through his poo celebration suddenly stop and judge himself for being so excited that he just did a shit. And yet, how many times a day do we stop and judge ourselves for the emotions that we are feeling? again with, yes, Gemma, again with kids, you know, you'll see a 2-year-old and they're just by themselves, they're just playing, and then some other kid will come and take the toy that they wanted. End of the universe just happened. The tears, the frustration, the anger, you know, the loss of the object of their dreams. And then you put an ice cream in front of the face and it's like, hey, awesome, back to amazing. We came into the world able to experience all of these different emotions on a daily basis. And then we got programmed. Then we got programmed to believe that the emotions that we are feeling are somehow wrong. Somehow wrong. So point number 1 is that all living creatures, you included, were designed and made to be emotional. Being emotional is part of a lived experience of not just humans, but mammals. And I don't know much about fish, but who knows, right? It's a mammalian experience to experience emotions. We all do. Only humans judge ourselves for our emotions. Now, give yourself a big pat on the back and a huge forgiveness now, because you didn't decide to judge yourself for your emotions. You were trained how to do it. And this is point number 2. As part of our rearing in this society, or in Western world in particular, we are trained that emotions are not savory, they're not wanted. We get told these are good emotions, these are bad emotions. Acceptable emotions are gratitude, contentment, happiness, not joy, that's a bit much, rein that in a bit, but you know, kind of like manageable, nice, polite emotions. Was this just my upbringing? Give me a little thumbs up if you've experienced that too, that certain emotions were not cool for you to feel in your house. Extreme joy, extreme excitement was just a little bit too much. And of course, I'm not blaming our parents here. They were conditioned and their parents were conditioned. There's absolutely no blame or judgment of the people who raised us in this moment or ever, okay? Just let me make that super, super clear. But part of becoming conscious is becoming conscious of our programming so that we can forgive it, release it, and not make the same mistakes for the next generation, right? So yes, 3 thumbs up there from Veronica. Yes, yes, yes. So bad emotions become anger, frustration, jealousy, even any behavior that acts towards selfishness, which has probably got a fear underneath of it. So fear of there not being enough. Any of these emotions we're not allowed to express. We're told that they're not nice, they're not ladylike, and we shouldn't be expressing those. Yes, Tanya as well, right? You know? So we learn to suppress and repress our emotions. We learn that if we want to get the love of our parents and the love of our peers and the love of our teachers and the love of our community, there are certain emotions that are allowed, and that in fact, sometimes we are asked to produce these emotions on cue. Say thank you. I'm not grateful. Say thank you. Okay. You know? Not that I ever got smacked, by the way. Spoiled child. But certain emotions are absolutely not allowed in the realm of our communities. We learn really, really young that they will not make us popular. They will not make us liked. They will not allow us to get the pat on the head and the good girl. They will not get us the gold star. They will not get us the A+ that we are looking for. So we take this training and we internalize it and we learn how to repress our emotions. Now, as a side note to point number 2, here's one of the first things that starts happening when we enter into a spiritual journey, particularly with any kind of clearing work, body release work. Meditation is a massive, culprit's the only word that's coming, but it's a massive culprit for our emotions coming up and asking to be expressed in a way that we've never allowed ourselves to express them before. So what can often happen is we take up a meditation practice or a spiritual practice, or we start intentionally praying, or just allowing ourselves to rest in stillness, or we take up EFT, or we work with a therapist. We're there to, you know, I just want to be more spiritual. I want to be conscious. I want to be on a higher plane. And what happens? All of that anger, guilt, fear, everything you've been repressing since you were about 4 years old suddenly starts coming up, right? But because of our training, we believe that there's something hugely wrong with this and hugely wrong with us. And many people at this point choose to leave the spiritual path, stop meditating, stop their clearing work, stop their release work in their body, because they think, whoa, this is not working, this is too much. When of course what was happening was just on a cellular level, you were clearing out, okay? Now, on the clearing out, here's point number 3, the scientific fact about emotions that has saved me from thinking, I just need to lock myself in a room. The human nervous system cannot experience an emotion for more than 90 seconds. A minute and a half. Here's what happens to us though. We feel an emotion coming up, particularly a bad emotion, one of those ones we've labeled as bad. Perhaps it's fear. Perhaps it's jealousy. We're never allowed to experience that, right? Perhaps it's anger. Perhaps it's sadness. And what we do is we're so afraid of feeling this feeling that we crush it down. And of course, then it just gets packed into the body somewhere, and it will find its way out, probably through addictive behavior, or through having accidents in our life, or through mental turmoil, because that energy has to go somewhere when we repress it. But if we could just know this, that you're only going to have to sit on this roller coaster ride for 90, up to 90 seconds. So when we feel the fear, we feel the anger, we feel the feels, we just have to be consciously, presently aware. Let me tell you a story about this. When I first learned this, I thought, I'm going to come to your question in a minute, Tanya. When I first learned this, I thought, I'm going to play with this. I'm going to give this a go and see if this is true, because I'm pretty sure that my emotions, I'm so special, last way longer than 90 seconds. And lo and behold, when you give the universe an invitation like that, what happens? The universe goes, oh, you want to play? Let's play, because the universe loves to play. So I was chatting with a friend. Another friend of ours was getting married, and it was like no one else had ever got married before. It wasn't that they were content with having the hen or the bachelorette party. There was a bachelorette weekend. It wasn't just the wedding that we had to go to. We were all expected to help make bunting and do decorating or bake cakes for the wedding, or it was like we had to step up to get this wedding up and off the ground. And it was becoming just a bit of a mammoth thing, and my friend and I, we were just getting a bit weighed down by this and feeling a bit like, come on. And we basically were having a bit of a bitch and a moan. I'll put my hand up to that. And my friend, in her genius, helping me via the universe, she said, Maharati, are we just being bitches because nobody's marrying us? It was like getting punched in the heart, and this shame, this recognition of a truth, and this shame punched me in the heart. And I'm sure there was a few other emotions wrapped in that too. But right in that second, I went, okay, just start counting. And I just put all of my attention on the emotion. It was a biggie. And I felt this wave of shame, anger, regret, rejection, loss start at my feet and come like a giant tidal wave all the way up my body and come out of my head and leave. And I had not counted past 10. I hadn't got past 10. I have been playing, or I've kind of stopped now because I get it now, but I played with this for a couple of years and I never got past a minute. It's a beautiful trick or task to give yourself something to do while you're allowing the emotion, is simply to put your attention on it and start counting. Now, here's the thing. It is possible to re-trigger yourself. Have you ever had this experience where you've been crying on your bedroom floor? I told you I was an emotional person. In crying on your bedroom floor, you're going for it, you're having the tantrum. How could he do this to me? I'll never breathe or love again. And the tears dry up and you're kind of done. But then you feel like a bit of a dick lying there on the floor. So you go back into the story. I'll never meet another person who loves me like he did. Oh no. Well, what you've done is not ride the wave of the one emotion. You're re-triggering yourself by going into the story, then into another story, then into another story. And the thoughts that you are grabbing hold of are causing an emotional response in your body. The next time you are having a tantrum, let's face it, it'll be sometime this month. Allow yourself to just notice if you're re-triggering yourself by going into the story, which produces a new wave of emotion. And then use your trick. Just go, okay, I'm going into story, I'm re-triggering. What if I just let myself be present, let myself be centered, and just start counting the seconds off? I'm feeling this. And let your emotion be felt. Because that's why your emotion is there, to be felt. How does that sound, gang? Does that sound like something that you want to get into? Or have you ever tried this before? And how did it go for you? Let me know. Tanya, is that if you start crying and you think that it shouldn't be happening? Yes, lovely. Yes. Often we can start crying. I don't know about you, but I'm a real easy crier. Really easy, have my whole life. It's a special talent of mine. I can cry and be perfectly okay with it, or cry, judge myself for crying, get into a story about crying, think that it's not cool that I'm crying, and now I'm kicking myself off into different 90-minute cycles by buying into a story. And again, this is just our training. It's okay. We're here to express that. We're here to rise above that together, my queens. So the next time you notice that you have been triggered to the point that you're crying, or you're just experiencing that as an emotional stress release, just start counting. Put your attention wherever it feels like your body needs the attention. Even put your hands on your heart and just let yourself have a good cry. One of the best pieces of advice my mum ever gave me was when I got my period, when I was 11. She said to me, such great mumming, well done, mum. She sat me down on the bed, having that panic attack of like, it's coming. You've been waiting for it to come. You've seen the video. You've had the talk in school. You've got the sanitary towels packed away in a drawer just in case. But it's still like, what is happening with me? And my mum just sat me down on the bed next to her, and she just said, you're a woman now. And this means that at least once a month, you're going to want to just go to your bedroom and cry. And that's okay. Just let yourself do that. Isn't my mum amazing? That's why I'm so grateful for her today. And it was one of the best pieces of advice I have ever been given. And I'm so grateful to have been told that as an 11-year-old, and have that permission to be okay with being an emotional human being. And also the pre-warning from my dear mum that sometimes hormones are just going to cause my body to be in heightened emotion, and there's no need to have a story around it. There's no need to know why. Very often, who knows the fuck why we're crying, but just to let ourselves have a cry. So that's my advice to you this week, my queens. Let yourself feel your feels. It doesn't make you less present. It doesn't make you less spiritual. In fact, the more you can experience what there is to be felt right now in that moment, the more accepting you are of what the universe has given to you. And it doesn't matter what label you put on the emotion, whether it's anger, jealousy, fear, or bliss or joy, they're all just movement. They're all just something washing up through your body. And they're all absolutely there for you to experience because you're a human, because you're a mammal, because we have emotions. And if you didn't want to have emotions, you wouldn't have incarnated as a human being. There's probably the most woo-woo thing you'll hear me say today. Queens, thank you so much for being here with me. It's been absolutely gorgeous. I hope you have the most incredible weekend. I will see you next week on the Conscious Check-In, and I will be in touch very soon because I've got some super exciting things coming up right here in this group. I love you so much. You're perfect as you are. Bye-bye for now.